Good morning and welcome everybody to Unlocking Freedom in Nature and Art.
Hello, welcome another day here in January with our first guest, Athena Todd. We're happy to have you, Athena. Welcome.
Yeah, welcome, Athena. It's so nice to meet you. And before we go and have Athena share her story, we were just talking beforehand. I actually used to live where where Athena lives. I spent 13 years there. So we have a lot of stories, and we're finding out we even have more in common than we even thought. So it's a great place. It's a beautiful area as well. So, but we want to say thank you for being here today. And thanks for your support, for sharing and liking. We love it when you comment on posts, when you share your own post. So please continue to do that. And also, we're going to be posting. We are looking for more speakers that you guys would be interested in, and I'll be sharing a post later today. And in a few weeks, we will be having a virtual adventure again that we are so excited for. And we will have a special guest for the second part of the session, which is Renee. And we have signups on our website. I'm creating a video for that right now. So
promo video.
We are. I got a little bit behind because I was sick. Off and on for the last, I think 6 weeks. So it's been crazy.
We're glad you're feeling better. And when you see those promo videos, feel free to share them with your friends and people that need joy and happiness and appreciation for nature and body language with our guest, Renee. And I want to say hello to Trish and Olivia. They're already here watching with us live. So welcome.
Thanks, guys, for being here. Love seeing you. So, Athena, as you know, we want to hear your story, how you got to where you are. And of course, we'll let you talk more about what you do at the end. But we're going to ask you questions, and our guests will ask you questions. But we want to know just how you've kind of started all of this.
How do I land in the United States first?
And where from? I think that's huge. So because that takes a lot of courage and strength to move to another country.
Yeah. And what I love is that we have that in common, from a tiny and mighty is what I call island, right? With different culture. We've been here for almost the same amount of time, like over 25, 26 years. So that's fascinating. And I'm ready to hear your story.
Yeah. So, I mean, I grew up in Taiwan. That's kind of where, my hometown is. Never really thought I would be actually speaking English. Well, from now, it's kind of look like will be the rest of my life. So, I mean, I was doing pretty bad in school. So to the point where my parents actually are wondering, is this girl's gonna mount to do anything good in life in the future? So, well, actually I would say track it down back in the third grade when I was walking home and by the construction site. Their giant metal pipe just dropping from high up on top of my head. It created a big dent on my head. So
oh my gosh.
Mom did not realize that need to go to check it out. Even till I think that was a couple of weeks ago when I mentioned this to my mom. I said, Mom, I was wondering how come you did not take me to the hospital? And you know what she said to me? You didn't bleed. We thought you were okay. I was like, Mom, are you kidding me? So, that ever since then, I start having feeling great and I feel all the way to college. And that's why my parents said, well, we don't know what to do with you. Maybe since it's your sister, want to go to, study abroad, why don't you go with her? So that's kind of how I come to the United States. And, they pick the school and say, hey, this is university, seems like a college town. It's more of a safer environment. And plus, there's nobody really speaking Chinese. So therefore, we can guarantee you'll speak good English. If we're going to spend that kind of money for you to study in the United States, you better speak good English. How are you was pretty much all I knew when I first got here. Well, I know how to write, but we never teach speaking. So I did not speak at all. So that's why my husband's always joke about for the first 5 years when when we just get to know each other and all that, he thought I was a very quiet, elegant young lady. until she learned the language. Oh my God, cannot shut her up.
She's unleashed.
And it's so funny, but what Athena's talking about, I had dealt with all the time for 13 years. Because we'd have with student housing, and we'd have all these students come in, and they couldn't speak English, but we always figured it out. It's like, I would like show things or, point to things. So, but we made it work. So.
Exactly. That's
I felt bad for just as bad for them as, so.
yeah, that's kind of exactly how a lot of international students figured out. Every time you see a lot of international students, they nod and they say they understand. I can guarantee you 80%, 90% of the time they don't. They just
Wow.
say yes because they don't want to embarrass themselves. And they, in the back of their mind, they say, I'll figure it out. I have no idea what she's talking about, but I will figure it out.
Okay, so I have some questions here. If we want to backtrack a little bit about your parents just thinking you were not going to amount to anything and things like that. So this was from that injury where you didn't bleed. It's funny because usually like the head is something that bleeds a lot if there's a cut or something, but then this time you didn't bleed, but then it dented and your parents knew it dented.
Yeah. So if I happen to shave my head, then you guys will see it's like, alien.
And you can feel it with your hair, you can feel it. Okay, and then when did you realize as a kid yourself, like there was that had its consequence, like in the learning ability or academic way? And how did you summon that courage to come to the United States to face this unknown world?
I didn't.
You are just thrown into the bathwater. You're like,
Have to say life, a lot of time I feel like my life is not being planned the way I like to plan it. There's always
mm,
I'm the believer. I'm being guided. Of course, at the moment of time, I didn't know I was being guided, but I believe now I'm getting older and older. Looking back, I know everything happened for me. So it is the way the universe or God, whatever you believe in it, is to set to see who I really am, my potential, who I was born to be. So if without all those, suffering and all those challenges, and then the many many moments could not figure it out, I'll just have to figure it out. And it was through those moment I get creative because being someone that living in a different country, if we're not able to tap in this particular area, there's no way. There's many of even one of my sibling, not the cousin, just can't handle it and move back. It's because I knew I compared the life I have in Taiwan to where the possibility I can in the United States. I have a lot more opportunity here. That is kind of one of the things I realized. The education system in Taiwan is not suitable for me because they're just usually cramping in and the information, want you to memorize it, and that's just not the style I learned. Kind of like Barbara Corcoran, she's not she just said the same thing. She never do good in school, but when you put her on the street, she's a street smart, not the school smart. And that's kind of how I later on found out that's where my talent is. I'm really good with people, even like to the point where my parents said, well, you should really be a lawyer. There's a lot of the points that you are trying to, I know you were like trying to, messing with us, but it's like, for your point of view, it sounds pretty accurate. So it's like, I think you should be a lawyer. But, at the time I just kind of like laughed it out and all that. But I know, I'm always have a way to being with people. And then I love to provide the clarity, helping other people. Even when I was in college, there was a point of time I almost feel like I should have a little sign in front of my dorm room open for coaching, because at the time was coaching for people there, people in college, of course, they're more care about the relationship and all that. But I just always seems like I have that kind of a talent in that particular area. Who knows, later on it become part of my trade, coaching the business and consultants and all that. So
Well, we understand that because Lori and I are both the type, just like you. We could be just standing there and people will walk up and tell us their whole life stories. Or I'll go into the gas station or a store and I'll come back out and I can tell my husband, oh yeah, this is this person. They have this many kids and this and this. And he's like, you were only there for 5 minutes. How'd you get so much in? I'm like, they needed somebody to talk to,
Hmm.
and a lot of times it's just because you smile or you're kind. But that's just because it's part of us. But it's also because of what we've gone through.
Yeah.
And like you said, I believe God has a reason for everything. And it's how we come out through it, because we look for the positive solutions instead of like, blaming everybody and like, well, I can't do anything because this happened to me. And it's like, no, that's not an excuse. We're gonna thrive no matter what. And head injuries, like you said, do not always show because my parents had the same concept. I had got kicked in the head by a spooked horse got spooked from a rattlesnake right here, and one hoof went here and one hoof hit me. Would not take me to a doctor, because I was not bleeding. But it's like, so it doesn't matter where in the world we have people that just do not believe in doctors sometimes. But when they were older, I was like, oh, we have to go to the doctor for everything. So, but I believe, yes, just like Sandra said, there is angels everywhere that I think help guide us. And I learned so much through those years. You look back and you're like, okay, God had me go through this. I went through this, but I learned this. Or like when we lived in Eugene and dealing with all the stuff that I did, because I did property management, but I also worked with the police department for the safety of block home. And we dealt with gangs and different things. But it taught me so many things on how to work with people and kids. And, I learned an enormous amount. And in some areas, you can't learn as much. But if you put yourself out there, it's amazing what you learn. And I learned some great recipes from his students that came in because they would cook for me all the time to show that they were thankful that I was kind to them. So.
That's so nice. I want to say a shout out to Susan, Lori, and Sandra. They join in. And if you weren't watching from the very beginning, our guest, Athena, has moved here from Taiwan years ago, where her parent she had in third grade like a head injury, and her parents thought she was not. I don't know what was it that they thought. I was going to ask you, Athena, like, did they label you? Did they say insults? And then you kind of grew up with that. And despite that, you said, hey, I'm going to just thrive. And I was going to ask you also if you think this opposition or adversity makes you more compassionate and empathetic to people.
For sure. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Lori. I was actually being labeled as stupid since third grade from my own parents.
That's
So
horrible. Oh my
I
goodness. The
just,
people that you're supposed to depend on for to build your self-esteem and all that, huh?
but you
That
know what?
is
Later on, I realized, just like Tony Robbins, his mom was chasing him with a knife down the street. So, when I hear that part of the story, I was, oh, wow, Tony, you and I have a lot in common.
wow.
And I realized, oh, okay, there's somebody kind of just like me, then, had to go through the same thing to become who he is today. So just like what he said, the bigger the opponent is, the bigger the hero. So that's what he was saying. Well, it's a word theory component, right? That's who you are becoming. So that's why when later on there's so many challenges that happen in life, I just look at, okay, what am I here to learn? What is a lesson for me to learn here? Because I know a lot of time people think I'm in my 30s and I'm actually close to 50s. So I mean there is advantage and disadvantage, of course, but I'm always sharing this particular part because I want them to feel inspired. Just because when you get into the 50s, it doesn't mean your spirit, the childlike spirit has to die, right? I protect this particular area really well because I know this is where the creativity is. This is where the true Athena is. This is the essence of who I'm born to be.
I love that. And I'm taking notes, and I really would like it if you repeat the bigger the opponent, the bigger the hero.
Yes.
Tell me more about that. How do you interpret that, or how has that mantra helped you in life?
So I think if I did not really think of that, I mean, of course, it just more of a looking back, just like what Steve Jobs saying, you don't really know how your life planned out unless you start looking backwards, right? You're connecting all the dots and you realize every little dots, the milestones has purpose. So, just from the very beginning, I got to the United States and then start to went through all those because I still had to go through the college entrance exam, 22 years ago. I don't know what my parents are thinking. If I fail English in Taiwan, I don't know why they think I would pass English in America. I don't know what they're thinking. But you know what? Somehow, some way, I was just like, what? I failed so much to the point. I was like, well, I don't know what to do, right? And a friend of mine told me just one day, say, hey, have you ever heard of there's a 60% chance for the international students to get into the college without passing the college entrance exam, but it's only 60% chance. At that point, I said, I'll take it. And you know what? That's my lesson learned. When this opportunity presents itself, even though it's not 100% guaranteed, take it. And that's actually been helping me in business later on in life. You don't wait until all the green lights to take action. You
Wow.
seize the opportunity, you take action, and you work your way through your clarity. And that's exactly what Tony said. Kim Menkes, right? Kim Menkes is our argument.
Yes.
Exactly the same thing. So when I hear a lot of like Barbara Kirkland, all those mentors that be telling us the same thing, I was like, well, there's something in common. Instead of reinventing the wheel, why not just follow the model? My chances
Yes.
of following the model would be a lot higher than trying to reinventing my own wheel and say, oh, here's my PD party, it didn't work. So I'm just like follow the model, and why not? So I would say this particular area of Asians, that's kind of how Asian learning model is. You just follow the blueprint. We don't even improvise. We just follow the blueprint, success blueprint, follow through. Not instead, because I know some of the people we have coached, they like this blueprint and they try it on. Oh, it didn't quite work out yet, and they switch into something else. So they always switching different blueprint, and they wonder why they're not getting themselves that far. And that's when we learned, well, at least when I learned early in life, I need to have one system follow through, even
Right. And that's
though.
exactly what you said. So many times people they quit that first year or second year. But a lot of times things take 3 years to 7 years. It's not overnight, but like you said, it's that system. And why should we waste our time making mistakes if we can learn from somebody that's already made those mistakes? And if somebody hasn't made mistakes, they probably shouldn't be your coach.
Exactly. So I'm the person that make a lot of mistakes, even compared to my team. I'm a person just go because I know I'll figure out a way. I will figure it out as I go because I've been proving over and over again from my past. I always will find a way. It's that absolute certainty. Of course, with that kind of a certainty, it is because I have a morning routine to support that. So every single day, I started with my morning routine because I've also, I'm a Tony Robbins student. So, how he rewired the your neuron system. And that's exactly how I do it. And I just follow the same system. And then, for like past 4 years, I'm feeling like there's part of me because of course we as a human is always, growing progress. So that's kind of how I get to see who I was 4 years ago until this, 2024. At the end of the 2024, I was actually just at the event, and then I want to see how far I have gone. And I already know some part of those limiting beliefs that used to bug me are no longer there anymore.
Good.
That's
Good.
awesome.
I think for people watching, I gather this information from your life experiences. No matter the labels you were told and given, you took risks. And again, Tammy and I have talked about stop this pattern of being victims. And you can say whatever you want to say about your parents, but hey, I'm sure they were doing the best they were able to do at that moment. And see, looking back, I think you're even grateful that they, shipped you to the United States and you were able to take that as that risk as an opportunity where you had a cousin or something that left. you decided to stay and continue fighting and learning ways and taking those risks. What can you tell our audience about that same message? And you have also mentioned something very key, very important that Tammy and I are grateful for. You have mentioned Tony Robbins. You have mentioned Kane Menkos. You have mentioned other names of your mentors, because that is very important too for us to understand and for our audience to understand. Tammy and I have coaching programs we want to help people with, and the importance of having mentors and the importance of seeing more than what you see about yourself capable of. What can you tell our audience about taking risks and making decisions that will pave the way for a better version of themselves?
I always like to reference what Tony always said to many of the audience. When you're in your head, you're dead. At first, I heard people say, well, like, many people say, what? What do you think I'm dead? Because I'm pretty much in my head all the time. Exactly. Because a lot of time our head is a protection mechanism, is trying to protect us, not to get hurt.
Can our audience hear Athena? Can you hear Athena? Okay, I can hear you now, Athena.
And I can hear Athena.
Okay,
Yeah,
it came back. So, okay.
Sorry. Yeah.
Sorry.
So when you're in your head, you're dead. So tell us more about.
Well, that's because when we dive in deeper, of course, Tony going through all the coaching and all that, and from my own experience in that saying is because I remember the moment. I'm used to be the person that's in my head all the time. I analyze it and to cases by cases, and I need proof after proof after proof. By the time I'm done proving, the opportunity already passed.
Wow.
So that is the reason why I realized they say, well, analysis paralysis.
Yep.
And that is exactly how I have experienced. That was one of the mistakes I learned in the past. Opportunity is not going away just because by the time oh, that's a great case study, but that is already somebody else's opportunity. That's how I later on realized in life. I still had my data and insight to back me up. If I have a good solid of 40-50% of data, and then I go into maybe some people could say, well, I don't know if that is proven or all that, but I do trust my intuition a lot. My gut feeling, my intuition has saved me for many, many crises in the past. So I have learned to listen part of my body, even though if the things that I'm about to move forward are pretty solid, but there's still one part of it's kind of like, I'm not sure. It's giving you that anxiety. That's when I was still having my intuition as my final guide to let me know if I should move forward or not. So a lot of time, yes, I do trust my instinct a lot. And then even though, there are some of the things that it maybe not quite making sense, but it's just like many things in life, it doesn't make sense. Why are we even here together?
I totally get that. There was a decision I had to make whether to take on a job and a couple things changed in it, and I just got that gut feeling not to do it. And I backed out. Sometimes you have to, and it can be the hardest decision because you might like that person. You don't see anything wrong. Like you said, all the details work out. And you're always careful, but you just get that gut feeling that something's just not right. And I pulled out, and it's not anything against that person or business. It's the fact that, you have to go with your gut at times, right?
It's what got Tammy and I together. We were both, unbeknownst to each other, stepping down of a project we were doing with a third party, with a third person. And then we both were done with that. And then it's what basically got us together. But I have a comment here from Sandra Crook. She says, we are taught to study things out. And but then how do we just do and think less? And like you were saying about the paralysis of the analysis, I call it mental constipation. Sorry. but yeah. So that's the question also, along with Sandra's question. How do we just do and think less? But also my question, if you can think it as two part, is also how you do you distinguish between your gut feeling and just our own fears?
Yes, that's a great question. So, the reason why the reason why I'm actually are very passionate about teaching this framework about the personal branding is it is because for us to show up fully, authentically, you got to work on yourself, right? So, because the personal development is pretty much, I would say, is my foundation. So, it is correct. It's if you just want to say, oh, all of a sudden I'm just gonna follow my gut, without doing just like doing without doing any personal development work. Yeah, it could be very, very hard in the very beginning. So the quickest way I would say, I know because if we're going to go through all the sessions, it's going to be we're talking about days, right? So I just said with just like what Lori said, with the constipation, what do we do with the constipation? We give them stool softener.
I love it.
Somebody else ran with it. Okay, good.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. That is absolutely right. If you think about years and years, I'm almost, 50, to have those 40 some years of a constipation of all the things that we're not supposed to say in this podcast, right? We have to keep it clean. And then we definitely need to take some time to clean it out. It's not the one day overnight job.
It can become toxic. It can become toxic for the body, for everything, our health. So in life, that too, right? Like, okay, I love that analysis. So, and then what, like Sandra's question is like, how do we do? How do we take action then?
So for
And
me,
stop thinking and
yeah,
overthinking it.
yeah. So for me, it is definitely starting, if people that have their own mentor, sometimes people follow whatever the mentor they can resonate well. I would say follow find a mentor that you can resonate with well on the personal development side. Personally, I found Tony Robbins happened to resonating with me. So for me, I noticed my secrets is in the morning routine. I do it religiously. I started with my incantation. That's the Tony's model. If you guys Googled it, you'll get
I
it.
love it. Yeah.
We get it because we've had Tony and Jane and everybody.
So he was like, "Good, this is
we
weird."
have a lot of the coaches and mentors you do.
It's not witchcraft, people. It's not witchcraft.
That's not a witchcraft. Yeah, it's definitely to
It's deeper than affirmations, right? It's deeper than affirmations.
It's the deeper. It's all into the physiology. So I own what I say. So just for kind of like a short description of that. So whatever I say to myself, I said it with a different tone of voice, and I say it with certainty. I do that every single morning religiously, unless I'm in Tony's event. Back and then I will follow. Once I have my incantation, I follow with the priming, because by the time I using incantation as a way to flash out, because just like every single day as a human, we eat, we poop, right? It's all those natural process. Same thing. Our emotion has to go through the same process, because during the day we accumulate all that crap. We need to have a proper way of a system to clean out as well on a daily basis, just like how we do for our physical body. Same thing with our mental, emotional. So that is why I do my cleaning every morning. So I start cleansing, and then priming is the way for me to install the new identity in me after I do my incantation. Incantation is pooping, and then priming is eating my healthy greens. And I finish with the exercise. So that way I can get my momentum, my energy going. And that is my religion. That is my religion.
Your routine.
Yes.
I think a lot of times some of us, and I'll say me, sometimes I admit this. I overthink stuff or analyze or am overcritical of my own stuff, right? Lori knows it. Because I'm always looking for perfection, but yet I don't care if it's perfect, but at the same time, if there's a date or something wrong, I want to hear that, hey, you made a mistake, and sometimes and I think it's partly because I see sometimes where people don't take any time to do any research, a subject, or they just speak without thinking. And I'm like looking at him going, how could you say that? And Lori and I were talking about a subject this morning earlier, and I'm like, why would they say that? And I guess I'll share it. It was about the fires. and in California, and people were upset because different stars were paying private fire department firemen to come and put out their fires. And I'm like, if I had the money, I would be doing the same thing. Because if you think about it, if that private fire, they're hiring private people to fight. The public's not having, and the federal government is not having to pay for that fireman. And the other firemen can go and work on everybody else's houses, you know? So I'm looking at it at all these different aspects where a lot of times, and so when I see people not think about all those things, it bugs me. But at the same time, I probably overthink everything.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say the overthinking has been the one of the, I would say, the biggest block that had blocked me even for my career for years. Just exactly the same thing. I used to be a professionalism. I'm still working. It's a everyday, constantly working. It's a job for me to make sure. Soon as even Barbara Corcoran said the same thing. If your team has 80% of accuracy, instead of 100%, just do it. And I had to constantly practice that. So now I'm making my everyday making mistake is one of my daily routine. I know it sounds kind of weird, but I
No,
know.
no, no, it doesn't sound weird at all. I totally get it. It's like when I do a relief work, I make my trees unperfect on purpose.
Yes.
Because if you go in the forest, there's no such, they are perfect, but they're unperfect. Not one of them matches. If you know what, so I totally get it.
Yeah. So that's why I would ask myself, Athena, did you make mistakes today? Did you take the risk today? So I have one of the things of the end of the day, I will ask myself these questions. What is one small success you did today? Small. And because in Asian culture, we grow up in the environment very competitive. Like
Overachievers.
very, very competitive. If I'm not competing with my siblings, I will be set to compete with my cousins, or if you're done with competing with your relatives, you get to compete with your neighborhood's kids. So
Oh, well.
yeah, so that's kind of how, I get to learn the new definition of what success is. I have to unlearn a lot of things just because my upbringing. So now I get to tell myself, Athena, I just want you this one smallest step that you did yesterday or today, right? That's what I've been training myself every single day. Regardless, say if I pick up the trash, I didn't want to feel like going because I had like headache yesterday, right? I roll myself out of the bed. You get whatever that is. I force myself to acknowledge the smallest milestone that I would never acknowledge myself in the past. And it's through that kind of training to acknowledge because success build on success. The more we feed into it, you start to change your state, your emotion state. And then this, what Tony was always saying, emotion is motion. So when you're in that vibration state, your energy is up, you will start to move, just like the car. You fill up the gas, you will move. If you have an empty gas tank, you won't move. And why is the reason why I'm doing those incantation or morning routine on a daily basis is I become my own gas station.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Sandra says that she's like you, or she's saying you're not alone, Tammy, when you were sharing about overthinking and all that. And Susan Jimenez says, I'm a big overthinker. I mean, we all are, we can be on that mode. I know there's the imposter syndrome, there's all these fears, but I think Athena has shared a lot of knowledge today and a lot of her own leading by example with her wanting to be in control of her day, her wanting to be in control of the things she can control, which is her psyche, her mind, her state, which a lot of people don't understand what the state is, but it's like me telling you, you guys are amazing. My state, my emotional state, and my physiology was not incompatible to my message. When I say you guys are amazing, then there's compatibility, and this is how we need to make our feelings and desires compatible to our state of mind, our physiology, and all that. So I want you to post questions here. Athena is in the group and she will answer more, but also listen to what she said and that great advice on having great morning routines, purposeful and intentional with the way she helps herself, like getting motion to act. I love also the fact that you celebrate yourself and the example as simple as I was thinking of other examples, professional accomplishments and things like that. But I love that you said taking the trash out, folding that load of laundry, whatever it is, celebrate it and give yourself a pat on your back that you accomplished something. And that way we don't take for granted the things that we do accomplish. I know that also you have mentioned Tony a lot. Tony and Dean Graziosi work together. And I know Dean also believes that it's progression over perfection.
Exactly.
And I always believe in perfectly imperfect is better than not even done or not even trying. So Tammy knows I roll that way.
Well, and
Like
I
perfectly
loved,
imperfect.
yes, and I loved Athena's other comment, was to unlearn. And then because I was just reading a quote about that, because it's so true, we have to, a lot of times, because of what we've gone through and stuff, we have to unlearn stuff that we thought was good, but it really doesn't help us, like unlearn bad habits, because like you, Athena, Lori and I both, we do have our special morning routines, because we find that you have to do those things in the morning. It helps you to get through the day. And it's like if you write, like you said, I'll write myself out like at least 3 things, if not 10 things to get done. But if I only get that one thing done, hey, I got it done, right? I was like, yes, I got 2 loads of laundry done yesterday and I got the video done, for you. But it was like, oh, I didn't get as much done as I wanted, but at least I got that done. So,
Yeah. I mean, I'm doing the same thing. I usually plan my day a night before, so I probably wouldn't give myself more than 3 things for the whole entire day. When I say 3 things, I'm not talking about, oh, just go on the website, changing the logo, all that kind of
no.
thing. I'm talking about that, like the action is moving the needle for my business. So
Yes.
it's like I'm actually are planning to be on the AI conference with Kim Minkus.
Awesome.
It's like, then this is so funny. Well, this
Which
might be a different
that's,
topic in the
I'm going
future.
to say congratulations, but people don't realize that's a big deal. So,
Yes. Yeah, that was something I said a year ago to my team. And I'm glad my team did not laugh at me. But I just, sometimes you're I don't know, is a higher self, whatever, but it just kind of like, just say it. And I was like, why would I say that? Right. It's like, yeah, who am I to think I would be? And, just because Tony's business mastery faculty is like, so at the time I did not think, I mean, I still have my own imposter, of course, everybody had to
yes.
deal with that. Right. So, and then I said, who am I, to talk about like that. So I keep it a secret until it become true. Then I want this become, inspiration for my team because, of course, at one point of time, my team was down because, as you know, business would go through, ups and down and all that. And then we as a team, international team, we had to go through the same process. So, so I know, this is kind of one of the things I've been proving over and over again, to really figure out our life purpose. Our life purpose is not here to run the business, right? Our life purpose is bigger than that. So
Mm.
I have been, since I started in 2008, start with the personal development, I always have the sense of my purpose is to be the inspiration and be playful and joyful and then creating a smile for myself and for others every day. And that is my life purpose.
Mm.
So whatever I do is all surrounding that statement. And so that's what I have said for myself. I want to live a purposeful life. And then I don't want to sit until I'm 80 or 90 and I go through all the, look back in my life to wonder what risks I could possibly take. If I were taking that risk, when my life would be different. So I think every time I want to chicken out or is scared of doing something, because I mean, I almost kind of did. I didn't know kids gonna be in that event. I don't know. We
I
all
saw your thing
learn.
yesterday and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I was like, holy. moly. I mean, sorry. So I had my moments, right? It's like you are sharing the stage with Tony Robbins, and you try to, and this is the mentor you learn from. Like, what are you gonna say?
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Well, Renee, who we're having on our virtual retreat, the body language, he worked with Tony Robbins.
Oh,
So we have a lot of our speakers actually have done tremendous things, and it's loving, and and it's when you have an accountability partner, like Lori and I constantly bounce off, or just somebody in a group that you can trust, has the
yeah,
same vision. So when I have my down days and I'm like beating myself up, Lori encourages me,
And vice
and the
versa.
same
Yep.
for vice versa. And you need those people in your life that can help lift you. But
Yes.
we also need nature and art to get outside in the fresh air. Now, I want Athena to tell us, we're going to go different topic here. Where do you go? What do you do outside there? So, because I know you have a lot of areas that you could go.
yes. I mean, live in Oregon, right? It's all forest, right? So I would say that is one. I would say that's the biggest blessing, especially when the COVID happened. Everybody is trying to find a place to run around and all that. We just go in our backyard and all that. So I do. A lot of time people think I'm more outgoing and I'm very talkative and all that. Of course, this is part of me, but I don't get recharged by talking. I do get recharged by, I do meditation, and then I do a lot of, self-reflection. And then this is kind of where I get my insight. And of course, just like any other human being, we go out for, the Friday nights and all that to enjoy my part of life with my husband and all that. And then one of the things, my husband and I, we love personal growth together. So we do spend a lot of time when we're not working in our business. We work together as a couple. We want to grow old together. When we say grow old, we're not talking about physical growing old together. It's more of a spiritually grow together. To the point, sometimes I feel, especially during the COVID time, when we go into the event, usually they will let you, two people in one ticket, right? And after COVID, an event, and I was applying for going to Tony's physical event. And then for some reason, I don't know, it didn't dawn on me. I was like, oh no, you guys are two people. So, oh yeah, that's right. I was like apply for one. I was like, oh yeah. Sometimes, but I love, when I growing, like this is kind of what I want for my community, the people I'm hanging around with. I have a vision. As I getting older and older, I want all my surrounding people. I don't need a lot of people to be around with. I want like-minded people
Quality.
born together in spirit. We understand each other, our mission. We are doing something bigger than ourselves. We're here to serve a purpose. And that is my vision of how I want to pursue my career, whatever I do. So to me, a personal branding is from the moment I'm born to the moment I die. And my business is really just the project I take on along the way. So that is the reason why I want to know how this Athena, I mean, watching this Athena from the childhood Athena to teenager to that rebellious Athena to all of a sudden become mature. And now I'm get to see what that truly is. I mean, I'm not, of course, my life is not done yet, but that's kind of how I want to see my life. Of course, just like you said, connecting to nature, connecting to the divine, connecting to the surrounding. And then, that's kind of why I think there's no accident that we be on the show, is because there must be a same type of vibe or energy. We're connected here.
Wonderful. You described the Athena metamorphosis. Like I was thinking like of the caterpillar and then how it evolves into a beautiful butterfly, free, kind of fully developed and all that. And I know that we don't stop growing, we don't stop developing and personally progressing. But I just love the fact that you have embraced all those facets or stages of your journey, and you have embraced them, and you want to keep going. You want to continue giving and offering your product and service to the community, and you want to continue growing. And I love that. And that's probably, yes, definitely the vibe we feel here, because we're all about inhaling positivity to exhale possibilities. So I am very happy for you. Thank you so much for sharing so much wisdom. The
Well,
comments
and
are great.
there's a reason we had you, because we could tell that you share our same values, because
Mhm.
we actually do turn down people and businesses. And it's not because we dislike it, but their values and morals
Need to be
just aren't
compatible.
aren't the
Mhm.
same.
Yeah.
And we want everybody in our audience and everybody should be able to relate to our guests. And we just feel the people that are in our audience relate to us, because we have wonderful, wonderful tribe, right? Warriors. And a lot of them have gone through similar situations, but everybody needs encouragement and inspiration. And Athena, you definitely share that. And I love that about
And
you. So thank you.
there's a person in the audience that says, wow, I love your vision. So thank you so much for sharing that, your vision, your knowledge. Thanks for being here.
Do you have any last words you would like to say before you leave, or
My last word. I'm not have
any
flashbacks. My
encouragement,
last
or do you want to tell the rest of your story and a little bit about what you do now? Oh, so
So I like what you shared earlier. Our instead of perfection, our life is really just a progression. So that's kind of you know why I want to be on those speaking engagement. It is really to share with people. You don't have to be perfect. As many of you can see, English is not my first language. I make many mistakes, and that is why I'm demonstrating with you guys I'm still show up even though I make mistakes. So that is what it make me human.
Mhm. I love it. I love it. And I'm with you with the English.
hey, I speak English and I make mistakes all the time. So I'm there with you.
Yes.
Because none of us are perfect, and when we get past that and realize
Yeah.
we're not perfect, but yet we are perfectly made. We are all
Mhm.
beautiful, in our own way. We just have to look. And sometimes what people don't realize, you have to look past, you have to figure out what's in that person sometimes, because sometimes, and I was realizing this, is a lot of times when I overthink, and maybe our guests will think that will be the same way, maybe not, is when I'm really not feeling well. When I'm feeling my worst, I will do things that I normally wouldn't do. I will actually overthink stuff. I'll make, articles longer, or I'll do more. And then I'm like looking like, why did I do that? I normally wouldn't do that. But a lot of times you'll figure that out, it's like, or like if you go grocery shopping, if I'm sick, you would think that I would buy less, but actually I will buy more. Or I'll clean more, and when I don't know, or maybe it's just me being weird. And but
Do you
and
know
I
we are really 95% of the time we actually go on trends. We're not conscious.
Mhm.
Very, very,
right.
very, very few people are consciously making the choice on every single day because that is in our muscle memory. That is the reason why I rewire those in the morning is because I know I have some of the things being in the muscle memory is not supporting me. So you're absolutely right. There's a lot of things I don't even know huh? When did we finish this part of the exercise? What did we just do? Right? So a lot
Yeah.
of
Right.
just going through trends because I was literally thinking about, oh, what am I going to talk about today, right? And I didn't
Mhm.
know, oh, we already finished the exercise? How that?
Yeah, so yeah, being intentional and purposeful is where it is at, and it takes a lot of discipline and determination. And again, it be intentionally wanting to change that rhetoric, change the channel of the things we're thinking of. You're talking about the affirmations and incantations and things like that, and if somebody's scandalized by that, I want you to evaluate what is better to consciously tell yourself the things you want to accomplish, the things you know you have the potential of, or that negative self-talk repeated and repeated unconsciously, out of this tradition and out of this trance we live on, suppressing, not admitting, and negative self-talk. And what Athena has shared with us is just this new way of living life, new labor of at least having control over some things that we can have control over the fear mongering, over the media negativity, over the negativity of the world. And when we can control is those positive things, it's just amazing. And I think Athena wants to attest of the changes that it's providing her life, in her business, in her world. So thank you so much for sharing, Athena. You've been an amazing guest. Thanks for being here. We honor your time and value your words.
And I want to say thank you for inspiring others. If you noticed, everything that Athena said was about helping others,
Hmm.
but yet it helps her and she's positive. It's not about, so many times we see this, it's like, oh, it needs to just be all about you. But life's not about just you, because every decision, everything we do affects everybody around us and everything. And her decision to inspire and to encourage affects her and affects all of us. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
You're welcome. So any other questions?
There's no other comments or questions.
All
So,
right.
wait. She has a beautiful smile. Is a new comment. Yay! So thank you so much, and I'm sure I'm looking forward for other comments when people watch the
And we'll talk to
recorded.
you a little bit here afterwards, Athena, after we hang up here. So, but we want to just say thanks to everyone who's here. Make sure you check out our post. Make sure you sign up for that virtual retreat.
It's gonna be great.
You don't want to miss having Renee. He's going to teach you some different sign language, and we will have Athena put more her links and stuff on the post, and she is a part of our group as well. So thanks everyone. Thanks Athena for being here, and we'll see you next week.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.